Hello and welcome to week four. As the news item or the week four sheet states, this is a very important week. This is setting you up for project one. And this exercise in particular is going to be sort of a two-parter, meaning that we're going to do one sort of more complex thing here today. Here in week four, and then we're going to expand on this exercise next week. So a little bit different in the sense that you'll be handing in sort of an expanded version of this file next week. Okay, you're making a movie clip sheet, which is really our only exercise. It's sort of one long exercise this week. States at the beginning, make sure you have bird.jpg downloaded off D2L. It's a small image file that we're going to use for this exercise. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to explain what sort of this idea of making a movie clip is and sort of how it's different in relation to what we've done thus far, and I'll sort of pause and sort of describe that here in a minute. But for now, let's head into this. So I opened a new ActionScript 3.0. I am going to choose File, Import to the Library. So what this is basically we're just importing an image. In this case, it's this bird.jpg into the library. Okay, so this is a JPEG. Most of you probably know what a JPEG is, an image file. And this image file is going to prove very useful and necessary in doing two things. The first is going to be making basically a graphic of this, and the second is going to be making a movie clip. Okay, and this will hopefully make sense here in a minute. So next step, step 6, choose Insert New Symbol. And this time we're going to make a graphic, just as we've done before. And we are going to call this, step 7, name it bird graphic, and make sure it's a graphic from the pull-down menu. This should be all stuff we have done before. Click OK. Now, we pop into the bird graphic. Okay, this is sort of very similar to what we've done with other graphics. We sort of make a new graphic and we sort of pop into this the library where we can now make this. Now, step 8, make sure you are in the bird graphic, which we are. Click and hold bird.jpg in the library, dropping it into the bird graphic. So I'm going to go over here to bird.jpg. I'm going to click, hold, and then I'm going to drop this guy down into my bird graphic. Okay. Now you'll notice that this thing is sort of one big thing right now. Probably sort of makes sense because it's a graphic file. Can't get at these individual sort of steps of this bird flying. Okay. That's where we're headed basically. So it says step 9, with the selection tool, the black arrow, click on the bird JPEG so the blue bounding box appears around it. Okay, what I mean by that's where we're headed is we're headed to sort of breaking this apart and making sure we can sort of get at these individual parts. Next, step 10, choose modify bitmap trace bitmap. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have that blue bounding box, and I'm going to go to modify bitmap trace bitmap. Okay. Now, before we sort of head into this, what this means, I want to sort of clarify what we're doing. A bitmap image is a raster-based image. At the beginning of the semester, I talked briefly about vector graphics versus raster graphics. Vector graphics are Flash, Illustrator, these things that are sort of determined by math equations, meaning that math determines the color of the line and how thick the line is, etc., etc. We can work in between these two, and we can basically turn one into another. And that's what this step here, step 10, is doing. We're basically taking a bitmap image or a raster-based image, and we're going to turn it into a vector-based graphic. This is going to become useful in terms of dealing with the 3 separate little entities of our bird here. Now, this little window right here, trace bitmap, we get these numbers, and I'm not going to go into these numbers too much. If you get into using raster-based graphics for your projects later, you might start playing with these. But these basically have to do with the accuracy in which it is going to trace and deal with turning this from a vector-based graphic into a raster-based graphic into a vector-based graphic. So I'm going to leave these defaults because they work just fine for this case. So I'm going to hit OK. And now what I want you to sort of notice when I hit OK is what happens to our little box here. So I'm going to hit OK. And what you notice, and if you're doing this on your own, you see this little mesh dot pattern. Okay? What that states, basically, in the visual sense, is that this is now a vector-based graphic. It looks very, very similar to what we've done, or what we had as a JPEG, but it is now a vector-based graphic, and we're going to sort of prove that to ourselves with the next few steps. So, step 12, click on the white background of the image area to select it. It says see video to clarify. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click off this, so I just have my black selection tool. I'm going to click off this, and again, it looks very similar. But when I click on an area, I don't want to click on any of the bird part. I want to sort of choose an area that's clearly just the white background of this image. I'm going to click on that area, okay? And I'm going to hit the delete button on the keyboard, and you'll see what happens here. What is left is simply our birds, okay? And in a second, we'll sort of see that more clearly, okay? But all we've done is brought in this JPEG, okay? We've turned it from a raster-based graphic into a vector-based graphic, and then we've separated out these parts, okay? We want to sort of work with these birds. Now, the applications for this are pretty vast. If you think about maybe just sort of sketching something in your sketchbook, doing three different sort of 3 or 4 or 5, 6, whatever, different versions of a certain type of movement. This allows you to sort of maybe scan something in, take a photograph of something, and bring it into Flash and do something with it. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is choose Insert New Symbol. And this time we're going to name it Bird Movie Clip, and we're going to make sure it's a movie clip from the pull-down menu here. So let's go Bird Movie Clip, and we are going to choose Movie Clip. And I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so let's look over here. Now we have three things. We have Bird JPEG, okay, that's the original sort of picture of the bird, okay. We have Bird Graphic, okay. And now we have Bird Movie Clip. Okay, Bird Movie Clip, and is going to be the last and the sort of third version of this bird that we're going to sort of use in our movie. So let's stop right here and talk about what a movie clip is. A movie clip is a symbol in the library that, generally speaking, will have its own timeline and be doing something. So if you think of this instance here, we're going to have basically, and you probably see where we're headed, we're going to have a bird flying. Now this bird flying is going to be sort of flying in place. It's just going to be flapping its wings. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to animate that bird on the main timeline. Okay? It's going to have its own timeline inside the movie clip. Here we are inside the movie clip. And we're going to put it over into the scene and be able to do all sorts of different things with it. Okay? Remember, symbols are very, very sort of useful things that we can use multiple times. So we might want to do a very generic version of this bird flying, and then later we're going to alter that version of it in the main timeline. Okay, so again, a movie clip is sort of something over here in the library that's maybe doing something, but it's often ready to sort of be animated on the main timeline. Okay, some sort of simple examples might be a car. So maybe you have sort of a stable car, but the wheels will be sort of rotating around. You can animate those wheels in the movie clip, and then later when you sort of bring it into the timeline, you might move it from left to right or right to left in order to sort of simulate that movement along a ground or a background of some sort. Okay? So, step 16. Let's head into actually making this movie clip. Go to the symbol, bird graphic, and separate the three birds from each other. Okay? And we want to sort of do this so that we can more efficiently deal with this. So I'm going to select this bird, and you'll see how I did that. Okay, all I did was I went to my black selection tool, and I kind of went up here outside that. I clicked, held, drew around this, and you'll see now we only have those little dots around the actual bird. That white background is gone. Okay, so I'm going to just move him over here, and I'm going to move him over here. And this is just so I can sort of grab these things more easily. Okay, so now they're separated. Remember, before this was one graphic, now these are separate things. And that's a good thing. Next step, step 17. Select the bird furthest to the left and choose Edit Copy. Okay, so I'm just going to select him, and I'm going to Edit Copy. Okay. Now it says go, step 18, go to the symbol bird movie clip. So we're taking the graphic from the bird graphic. We're just taking a portion of it, one third of it, and we're going to go now over to the movie clip. Okay. Step 19, choose edit, paste, and center, and this is going to create a keyframe in the first frame. Remember, this timeline is the timeline for our movie clip. It's not our main timeline. We're inside our movie clip here. Our scene 1 is currently blank. It's got nothing going on. So I'm going to go edit, paste, and center. And as you'll see up here, created a keyframe. That's good. Step 20, position with the selection tool, the black arrow, the bird so that the beak is right on the center mark. Okay, and you can do this how you want. I like to sort of have the beak right there. Almost looks like he's sort of eating that little center mark. The idea behind this is we're going to place the other birds in a similar fashion so that we sort of keep consistent how this bird is flying. Okay, if we don't, the bird will be all sort of jagged when it flies and won't be sort of looking realistic. Okay. Now it says go to frame 3 in the timeline, and this is the timeline of the movie clip. Can't stress that enough. And insert a keyframe. So we're going to control click. Hopefully you've gotten used to that. I'm going to insert a keyframe. Oh no, wait. We are yeah, we're inserting a keyframe. Okay. So we just have this bird sort of going from basically frame 1 up to frame 3. We're basically giving it a little bit of time to sort of show us this portion of the of its flight. Okay. Now I'm going to go to frame 4 and I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, and I insert a blank keyframe because this is going to be where we put the sort of second step. Remember, keyframes are being these sort of frames that sort of state where something is so. Okay, so we have frames 1 through 3 stating that it's the sort of up portion of the wing. And as you can probably guess, by frame 4, we're going to put the next visual of this bird sort of flying. So it says to double click on the bird graphic. Here we are at step 23 in the library and select the bird in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go to bird graphic. Here's our middle one. Okay, I'm going to select him. I am going to copy. I'm going to go back to the movie clip. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm on that keyframe. We always got to pay attention to where we are. And I'm going to choose Edit, Paste, and Center. And what you're sort of seeing here is sort of a step-by-step process of basically laying out the three steps of this bird flying within a short timeline. Okay, so I'm going to grab him. Okay, and we're sort of repeating what we did in the first couple keyframes. So I'm going to position the bird so his beak is right by the center mark. You can even sort of go back and look at your relationship between your first few keyframes and where you've put him to make sure that they are correct. Okay. So next step, we're going to go to go to the frame 6 in the timeline. We're going to insert a keyframe there. Just like we did last time, we're going to go to the next frame. We're going to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, and we're going to double click on the bird graphic in the library. We're going to select the last step of this. We're going to edit, copy. We're going to go back to our bird movie clip. Make sure we're on that frame 7, and we're going to edit, paste, and center. And I'm going to position him right there. I'm going to stop this right now and pick it up in the next video. I only have about 30 seconds here, and we have quite a bit more to go. But as you can see, we have multiple keyframes, and our bird is well on its way. So I will pick this up in the next video.